And I think I've seen you either write or talk about the demonstration of consciousness from a system like that, from a system like Alexa or a conversational agent, that what you would be looking for is kind of at the very basic level for the system to have an awareness that I'm just a program, and yet why do I experience this? Or not to have that experience, but to communicate that to you. So that's what us humans would sound like if you all of a sudden woke up one day, like Kafka, right, in the body of a bug or something. But in a computer, you all of a sudden realize you don't have a body, and yet you would feeling what you were feeling. You would probably say those kinds of things. So do you think a system essentially becomes conscious by convincing us that it's conscious through the words that I just mentioned? So by being confused about the fact that why am I having these experiences? So basically,
I don't think this is what makes you conscious, but I do think being puzzled about consciousness is a very good sign that a system is conscious. So if I encountered a robot that actually seemed to be genuinely puzzled by its own mental states and saying, yeah, I have all these weird experiences and I don't see how to explain them. I know I'm just a set of silicon circuits, but I don't see how that would give you my consciousness. I would at least take that as some evidence that there's some consciousness going on there. I don't think a system needs to be puzzled about consciousness to be conscious. Many people aren't puzzled by their consciousness. Animals don't seem to be puzzled at all. I still think they're conscious. So I don't think that's a requirement on consciousness. But I do think if we're looking for signs for consciousness, say in AI systems, one of the things that will help convince me that an AI system is conscious is if it shows signs of introspectively recognizing something like consciousness and finding this philosophically puzzling in the way that we do.
It's such an interesting thought, though, because a lot of people sort of would, at the shallow level, criticize the Turing test for language. That it's essentially what I heard, like Dan Dennett criticize it in this kind of way, which is it's really puts a lot of emphasis on lying.
Yeah, on being able to imitate human beings. Yeah, there's this cartoon of the AI system studying for the Turing test. It's got to read this book called Talk Like a Human. It's like, man, why do I have to waste my time learning how to imitate humans? Maybe the AI system is going to be way beyond the hard problem of consciousness. And it's going to be just like, why do I need to waste my time pretending that I recognize the hard problem of consciousness in order for people to recognize me as conscious?
Yeah, it just feels like, I guess the question is, do you think we can never really create a test for consciousness? Because it feels like we're very human-centric. And so the only way we would be convinced that something is conscious is basically the thing demonstrates the illusion of consciousness. That we can never really know whether it's conscious or not. And in fact, that almost feels like it doesn't matter then. Or does it still matter to you that something is conscious or it demonstrates consciousness? You still see that fundamental distinction.
I think to a lot of people, whether a system is conscious or not matters hugely for many things, like how we treat it, can it suffer, and so on. But still, that leaves open the question, how can we ever know? And it's true that it's awfully hard to see how we can know for sure whether a system is conscious. I suspect that sociologically, the thing that's going to convince us that a system is conscious is in part things like social interaction, conversation, and so on, where they seem to be conscious. They talk about their conscious states or just talk about being happy or sad or finding things meaningful or being in pain. That will tend to convince us if a system genuinely seems to be conscious, we don't treat it as such. Eventually, it's going to seem like a strange form of racism or speciesism or somehow not to acknowledge them.
I truly believe that, by the way. I believe that there is going to be something akin to the civil rights movement, but for robots. I think the moment you have a Roomba say, please don't kick me, that hurts. Just say it.
Yeah.
I think that will fundamentally change the fabric of our society.
I think you're probably right.